What if I told you that the Superman you know isn't exactly what he always seemed, that his true origin has been hidden for decades, and that within the comics lie frightening secrets, forgotten versions, and disturbing revelations about who the last son of Krypton really is? Today you'll discover the dark, lost, and untold side of Superman's creation and ultimate origin. Get ready, because after this video, you'll never see the hero the same way again. The hero who hides secrets. Superman is undoubtedly the greatest icon in comics, a symbol of hope, justice, and the idea that even an alien can be the most human among us. But what if the story we know was just the official version, polished to inspire generations? Behind the scenes at DC Comics, in forgotten documents, in deleted pages, and in creator interviews, there exists a very different Superman. A being who carries not only the mission to save the world, but also dark mysteries about his birth, his true nature, and even the true purpose of Krypton. In this video, we'll explore the ultimate and untold origin of Superman, from frightening ideas discarded in the 1930s to bizarre revelations in parallel universes and dark stories that were nearly forbidden. Get ready, because we're about to delve into secrets that will completely change the way you see the Man of Steel. Chapter 1: The Forgotten Secret of Creation. Everyone knows the classic story. Kal-El, a scientist from Krypton, discovers the planet is about to explode. He puts his son Kal-El on a ship and sends him to Earth. The baby is found by Jonathan and Martha Kent in Kansas, who raise him as Clark Kent. Simple, right? But the truth is that Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, creators of the character in 1938, had much darker ideas for Superman. Few people know that. Before becoming the hero we know, the first version of Superman was a villain. Yes, in the beginning, he was supposed to be an alien ruler with unlimited powers, a cruel conqueror called the Superman. It was the image of a human being transformed into a monster by science, inspired by the distorted ideas of Nazism and eugenics that were prevalent in the world at the time. This version was discarded, but it left its mark on the character's DNA. The Superman we know was born as a symbol of resistance, but he always carried the shadow of another possible destiny, that of becoming a dark god among men. Chapter 2: Krypton wasn't what it seems. Krypton, the destroyed planet that gave birth to Superman, is often portrayed as a scientific utopia. But what if it wasn't? In some forgotten versions of the comics, Krypton is portrayed as a cold, emotionless planet, where technology has completely replaced human warmth. A perfect society, but without a soul. Jor-El, in fact, saved not only his son from the physical destruction of the planet, but also from the spiritual death of a civilization that had lost its way. In certain dark stories, Krypton is even described as a planet doomed not only by natural causes, but by a curse. This suggests that the Kryptonian race dabbled with forbidden forces, tampered with hidden dimensions, and ultimately paid the price. This means that Superman may carry within him not only the legacy of a lost world, but also the mark of something much more sinister. Chapter 3: The True Ship. The ship that brought Kal-El to Earth has always been portrayed as a means of salvation. But in some alternate versions, this ship is almost a prison. In lesser-known stories, it's described as a living, nearly sentient machine, programmed to mold Kal-El into something much greater than just a hero. There are theories that the ship not only protected the baby, but also rewrote his DNA during the journey, making him even more powerful than any ordinary Kryptonian. This raises a frightening question. Is Superman truly a pure Krypton, or a hybrid creation, molded by his own ship into something more? Chapter 4: The Dark Fate of Clark Kent. Being raised human seems like the most beautiful part of the story, but think about it. How would a being with alien senses deal with the world as a child? Imagine a baby who can hear the heartbeats of everyone around him, who can smell impossible smells, who can see through walls. Some forgotten stories depict young Clark as tormented by his powers, nearly going mad before learning to control them. There's even a version in which Jonathan Kent fears his son's strength so much that he considers turning him over to the government, believing he could be a danger to all humanity. Superman only became the hero we know because he chose to suppress his fear and embrace hope. But what if he had made a different choice? Chapter 5: The Krypton Prophecies. Some unpublished DC scripts included an even stranger detail. On Krypton, there were ancient legends about the birth of a child destined to survive the planet's demise. This child would be called the Last Son, not to save, but to dominate a new world. This frightening version calls into question the entire Superman myth. Was he born to be a hero? or to be a conqueror, which leads us to stories like the famous Injustice, where Superman loses Lois and decides to rule the Earth with an iron fist. It is not just a parallel version, it is the echo of that dark destiny that was already at the heart of its origin. Chapter 6, The Encounter with Death. One of the most curious points in Superman's trajectory is his death at the hands of Doomsday. But few people know that, behind the scenes, this story was planned as a spiritual revelation. Backstage documents show that there was an idea that Superman, upon dying, would have contact with the ancient Kryptonian gods in a kind of afterlife dimension. There he would discover that his mission was much greater than simply protecting Earth. It was the fulfillment of a cosmic destiny, linked to the balance between worlds. This version was never published, but it reinforces the theory that Superman is not just a powerful alien. He may be a chosen being, almost an intergalactic messiah. Chapter 7, The Absolute Superman. Now we come to the most disturbing point, the version known as the Absolute Superman. In some little-known stories, this idea appears as a dark concept, a Superman who is free from the limitations of human morality, a being who reaches his full Kryptonian potential without repression. This absolute Superman doesn't just save the world, he rewrites it. He's capable of manipulating matter, energy, time, and even reality. But without the moral compass that Kent gave Clark, he becomes something close to an untouchable god. This version has never been fully explored because it's too frightening. Imagine a Superman without fear, without doubt, without weaknesses, who looks at humanity like a scientist looks at insects in a laboratory. This is the Superman that DC has always been afraid to fully reveal. Chapter 8, What does this mean for us? Superman has always been portrayed as the best of us, the symbol of hope. But, as we've seen, behind his creation lie much darker versions, ideas, and origins. Perhaps Superman's true meaning isn't just to inspire. Perhaps it's also to remind us of what we could become if we had absolute power. A frightening reflection that, behind the cape and the smile, there always lies the possibility of something much darker. And deep down, perhaps that's what makes Superman so fascinating. He's a promise of hope, but also a constant reminder that limitless power can easily turn into absolute fear. Conclusion. The Superman you didn't know, now you know. Superman's origin is just the cute story of a baby saved from a planet on the brink of destruction. It's also a tale full of secrets, frightening twists, and possibilities that could change everything. From the original villain who nearly took over the world, to the absolute Superman, a being capable of rewriting reality. The Man of Steel's journey is much darker and more disturbing than you might imagine. And perhaps the ultimate question is, which Superman really exists? The hero we know, or the dark version, hidden in the shadows of his true origin? So, after learning all these secrets, do you still see Superman the same way? Leave your opinion in the comments, share this video with your comic book loving friends, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more curious, scary, and intriguing stories like this one. Until next time.